home may be familiar with the advent of indoor tanning beds. Then a few years later, Nestle and L'Oreal actually created two joint ventures, one being L'Oreal Recherche and Galderma, followed by the sequential year, Recherche funded a slip, slap, slop anti-tanning campaign in Australia, which, as we know, Australia is basically the training grounds for all this stuff. And the image down at the bottom was from their campaign. Almost everybody should be familiar with this by now. It basically tells you people to hide from the sun and apply as much of the sunscreen as possible to mitigate the harmful effects from the sun, which we now know is basically pseudoscience. It's founded on the fallacy that UV rays are inherently dangerous or cause damage that is irreversible, which we know is not true now. So pretty amazing, honestly, that they've been able to, I guess basically, tell people to stay out of the sun when, which we'll get into, but basically that these issues we've seen in recent, years are actually as a result of really from the 70s and beyond when it was never an issue before. So 1992, after heavy lobbying from the International Commission on Non-Ionizing Radiation Protection, a Rothschild Foundation funded it, of course, the International Agency for Research on Cancer classified solar radiation as carcinogenic to humans. So really up until that point in history, up until that point in time, sun was completely fine. It was actually considered healthy. As we saw, it went from winning a Nobel Prize to now being classified a carcinogen.
Wow.
Insane, right?
Yep.
Definitely. So L'Oreal, which is actually owned by Nestle, they were at one point the largest shareholder. They've since sold some stock, I'm sure, for a nice profit. They founded the International Dermatological Research Center in 1979 with the mission to improve knowledge of the skin's physiology and aging process.
Oop, looks like we lost our guest. Hopefully come back. Just boom, got kicked off. Must be talking about the wrong stuff. So yeah, the sun, a lot of the sunscreen that's out there, you gotta be very careful. Try and get the most natural stuff possible because it is, cancer causing. A lot of the sunscreen that's out there. So just be heads up about that. Sun has changed, and so has the firmament. Yes, make move America. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe on his end, there's no internet. Maybe he lost it over on his end. That sucks. That's why he's not coming back. So we'll just we'll stand by a little bit longer. Hopefully he'll come back in. But yeah, definitely his products are fantastic. I've been using his products for a couple months now. His collagen, the Optimum Collagen product has excellent protein in it too. So you can get collagen and protein. Usually I take collagen and put it in my protein shakes. But with his, I've been using a little bit of protein and his collagen. The Optimum Collagen, Noah's collagen. So it's really good stuff. I use all this stuff, creatine and the Silogit. It's the shit, right? So definitely want to be good. So Sherry, use aloe. Use aloe gel directly from the plant for sunscreen. Works great. It makes your skin nice. Very good. Wow, brilliant. Never heard that before. Yeah, I have to keep that in mind. So I know my grandmother had aloe plants on the porch, and she always had those. And I thought, oh, that's a nice looking plant. It's kind of unusual, And I remember somebody got burned on the stove at my grandma's house, and they were like, "Go get the aloe plant. Go break a piece off." So I went out and broke a piece off, and it's like the gel that starts to come out. So we brought it in, we rubbed it on the person's burn, and my cousin's burn, and it was good. It's amazing stuff. Yeah, happy Father's Day. Thank you guys. Obviously a little bit different Father's Day for me, but I still have one out there. So hopefully all of you are having great Father's Days. And it's 107 that are watching right now. No, what happened? So unfortunately, looks like he's not coming back in. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in a few minutes. Hopefully it comes in. Like I said, comes back in. So I'll share the screen and share the Optimum product. And my producer's coming in. Any word from Noah?
No, I texted him, so I'm just waiting. Maybe he's shutting down and coming back. Talk about the parade and the birthday, and give him 5 minutes, and then.
All right. So here's the Optimum product. Really good stuff. Like I said, the intuitive bundle. Basically, you get everything. This is the way to go. I like this. I got this bundle. I get this bundle every month. So it's on. Comes in every month. So really good stuff. And I actually got extra. So I have like double everything. I like to double up on stuff I like. So. Martian Stealth Jedi. I love that name. That's a good one. You think my live streams are the best? Thank you, sir. And so yeah, it's going to be very important, I think, going forward. I think they're going to try and do another scamdemic on us. So you need to be super healthy. Could see, when we didn't have a very big, many problems. I know in the usual suspects that there were some problems in Seattle. They had, some crazies that were running around up there. But in Seattle, they did away with like 100 police officers. They reduced their police force during the George Floyd riots. And you guys know how I feel about George Floyd. I talked about it right from the beginning that was a scam as it was happening and it was being broadcast. I was like, that's a scam. So that's a false flag. So they try to do, they're going to keep doing these false flags. They did the false flag with these Democrat lawmakers that were shot in Minnesota, and so it's gonna continue. I think, was it Minnesota or Wisconsin? So it'll be very important to stay focused, stay in the light. Otherwise, you're gonna get hoodwinked, and that's what they like to do. Now, how many of you guys watched the parade yesterday? The Army's 250th anniversary birthday parade, and of course President Trump's birthday and Flag Day. How amazing, right? So that was I thought that was fantastic. The way they did that, I thought it was the best military parade I've ever seen by far. And it's good the United States is doing that because all the other countries have been doing that forever. China does it, Russia does it, on and on. So it is crazy that we don't have more people that are into America like it used to be, like when I was a kid. And I think that all the little distractions that we had with people running around. I think San Diego had a big turnout for their demonstration. It wasn't actually a riot, and the police are like, "Good job, all you did your constitutional right to protest, and no one got out of line, and you guys are all great." So the police loved them down there in San Diego. They lucked out this time, I think. So we'll see how it is going forward. But it's pretty much a lot of communists, and there was this one woman that was all angry, and she was like crying. She's like, "I don't understand why people voted this man in." And someone. He's actually a writer. He's written books, and I guess they made a movie out of one of his books. He's one of my followers. So he comes in and says, "This is my generation." He's like 10 years older than I am. So he's in his 70s. And he's like, "This is my generation. We tried to help them back then, too. They're all communists. they're pissed off because America didn't go communist, and they're still can't believe it didn't happen. And I was like, wow, that's brilliant. And then I saw this like 18-year-old in Atlanta, and she was all emotional, just like that older woman. She was all emotional and talking about how using Constitution, which communists don't believe in a Constitution. They don't believe in democracy. So and this guy was said, like, they dropped these words, but we have the greatest, country in the world, the greatest freedom in the world, and they never benefit from it because they're always trying to make us communists, and they're lying and screaming and all that kind of stuff. They just go through life, living it like that. So we have to be aware of that. There's just people like that that are out there, and I think one of the Q posts is like, you're going to have 5% of the population are never going to get on board with this, and that's seems to be those communists, those rude, nasty communists like Bernie Sanders, who said that our government should be violently overthrown, and that's what he said. I don't know how he gets away with that, but whatever. Now, a lot of you guys are talking QFS. I don't know about QFS. I'm not feeling it. Right, quantum financial system. I don't feel that, so I don't follow it. I don't even look at it. Right, but if you're following it, you look at it. Hope it doesn't end up like the communist lie. But just be aware. There's a lot of disinformation out there, and a lot of people have jumped on board with that because it gets a lot of views. So, follow stuff. The same thing I had Juan O'Savin on just a few days ago, and I was going to ask him about the economic situation, and he says, crypto was created by DARPA, and I was like, really? So it's like, but they created the internet too. The internet's not so bad, I guess, So they probably were thinking they were going to use it for other means, but control us, and maybe they do. And in some instances, if you look at it, it has been used to monitor and watch us, and and for people that are out there protesting, control us. Because I think that's about as dumb as you can get, to go out and protest the greatest country in the world and the greatest president in history. So it is what it's going to be. What it is. This is communist infiltration in a lot of our institutions, especially the educational system. Because another person said, "Hey, what about all these veterans?" And I don't know about a lot, but there are veterans out there. I've seen them, and I was like, just because a veteran, talks shit about Trump doesn't mean they're smart. Right? It doesn't mean they're smart at all, because there are also veterans, just like there are, people in our society that are communist and have like these stupid ideas of how our country should be, and a lot of those guys that get that dumb idea, they leave the military, and the military, because they do matching bonuses for your education. So a lot of people pay into that, and then when they get out, they use that money to go to college, and then they get indoctrinated into the communism after they've been into the greatest military in the world. It's like, and most of us in the military are conservative, but through constant brainwashing, as we've seen through television and so forth, anyone can be turned. Anyone can be radicalized. And that's what we've seen with these demonstrations across our country, and not just in our country, but also the world. The rest of the world, especially Europe and parts of Africa, have definitely been compromised. Europe's way more compromised than the United States. They're way more communist leaning, if not completely, pretty much. So, and they hate Russia because Russia threw off communism. And Bernie Sanders got married and went to Russia or Soviet Union back when it was communist, and he was like he's like a pig in shit, He's like wallowing in it, and he loved it. So, and now he's the angry communist still that didn't, change America into communism. So that's pretty much what we've been seeing. And looks like we got Noah. Noah, got you back?
Holy cow, man! When did I phase out? I can't believe that.
Oh, you didn't even know you phased out? You've been out for like 10 minutes.
No way. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so sorry. I literally had no idea.
Yeah, no
Dang.
worries.
Okay.
I just been chatting, and I
What do you
shared some
got?
of your
Oh my
platform
gosh.
stuff. So if you want to jump back in and
Definitely.
share the screen again, and we'll continue on.
Yeah, definitely. Do you by chance remember where I left off? It's okay if you don't.
You were talking about the. Let me see.
Yeah.
Talk about those guys. Probably
Oh,
back.
okay. Pretty early on. Okay. Dang, I was rolling there. I was literally just
Oh yeah,
talking to
right there.
myself
Go forward
right here.
a little bit
Yeah.
further. Back up into
This guy right here.
L'Oreal and a
Oh,
little
okay.
further.
Yep.
Nestle a
Right
little bit
here.
further. Probably about back a little bit.
Yep.
Back in.
This one.
Yep, back right about in there.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So
right
yeah.
there.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Sorry about that, but yeah. So really, we'll kind of zoom through some of this here, but basically just building up to how sunlight came to be demonized. There was some funding from the Rothschilds that basically classified solar radiation as carcinogenic to humans. So really, never before in history was this ever a thing. We literally have survived up until now thanks to the sun. For what it's, so we really wouldn't be here without it. Uh, L'Oreal, owned by Nestle. Okay, Nestle was the second largest shareholder, so they're essentially one of the same. But basically, they established the International Dermatological Research Center in 1979 with the mission to improve knowledge of the skin's physiology and aging process. However, due to all their actions, of course, we know that the public perception was really to change it from being healthy to dangerous. So this is where definitely you're going to want to stick with us. So Nestle and L'Oreal actually paid to create two new types of skin cancer, basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. These aren't reported on any country's official cancer registry, but we know they use shell companies to basically prop up statistics using taxpayer dollars, which go hand in hand with big insurance companies. Okay, and I want to just show people here. So I'm not making the claim that skin cancer isn't real, but what I am saying is basically prior to the 1970s here, this light blue line being the 1970s, so the 60s and 50s, basically skin cancer was a flat line. There's basically a set number of people, if you will, that get it each year. But now we've seen, and this graph only goes to 2005, but at least in men, the rates have absolutely exploded. So I don't know, Mike. Back then, what was it like, man, for a young guy like me? Like, was that really a thing?
You just went out in the sun. You just slowly acclimated. Sometimes people would go out and too much too fast. You get a little
Yeah.
sunburn, and then you'd acclimate and carry on with life. It wasn't until later, like you're talking about, they started coming out with the sunscreens, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's really when the cancers started coming in.
100%. So you hit it on the head. Galderma here, the child company of Nestle and L'Oreal, made $2.2 billion. This is a huge, provider of you name it, really, sunscreen, makeup, SPF, all of it. Much of this being paid for from taxpayers, and then being used to funnel profits through phony nonprofits like the Dermatology Foundation. Despite billions of dollars, no cure has ever been found. Despite all their efforts to research it, to hopefully try and find a cure, today we have nothing. Yet sunscreen brands continue to get recalled due to actually having ingredients that cause the very said cancers. So, toxic heavy metals like titanium dioxide, you can read this for yourself next time you're at the grocery store, and hormone disruptors like oxybenzone, which contributes to the hormone epidemic that goes hand in hand with the skin cancer, recurrent rate diseases, obesity, all of it. So I say all this to say that there's been a corroborated effort to destroy light, and ironically, I think it's really important that we're here talking about this stuff helping to spread the light. So, which is the very integrity of what holds really our cells, not only our cells, but, our planet, plants, animals, everything relies on sunlight. And so the fallacy that we wouldn't just doesn't jive with nature. So, of course, this is a highly politicized issue. Goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, the Green Deals. So back in 2007, George W. Bush enacted a bill to illegalize the manufacture or importation of incandescent light bulbs, which might seem benign, but we're going to see why that's actually pretty important. And then in 2009 was officially phased out from Obama. But in 2020, Trump actually undid those regulations on incandescent light bulbs, which I feel like was a pivotal moment because it was a liminal time in which, he basically brought back the light. And so many people listening probably already know, but in case you don't, they're spraying all sorts of stuff in the air, heavy metals, namely barium and aluminum, which spells out ball. Okay, so, cabal, ball, we know what that is pointing towards. And of course, all these heavy metals are very toxic to our biology and actually interfere with our body's ability to be able to work on the quantum. So reported nanotech particles, graphene, chemwebs, all of it, you name it. It's all been identified and actually, under a microscope and clearly shown from the chemtrails. And then, so I want to also make a very important note that not all light is created equal. So when I talk about sunlight, I'm not talking about, things like, tanning beds necessarily. But I'm definitely not talking about the light from our screens, our light bulbs for the most part, unless you're using incandescent, our phone screen. That light is considered junk light because it's not in the natural amounts that our physiology would be naturally exposed to via sunlight. So junk light actually impairs our mitochondrial DNA. And it actually goes back to, again, viewing sunlight through a window is almost the same thing. And why that picture is so important. And what I really want to drive home to people is that light exposure can mean a lot of different things. So what I'm going to show you guys here is pretty groundbreaking stuff. But on a cellular level, this is actually damaging and mutating our DNA. And I don't mean that to spread fear. It's just, you got to be aware, and you can actually balance it out and negate the harmful effects by getting sunlight, funny enough. So blue light from our devices stops the pineal gland from producing melatonin, the body's most powerful antioxidant. So I pull up a study here, and most people are probably just familiar of melatonin because of its ability to help us fall asleep, but it's actually way more important than just that. And this study actually shows it's a much more efficient antioxidant than vitamin C. But did you know that there's actually two different kinds of melatonin? One of which is that pineal gland melatonin, which only accounts for about 5% of our total melatonin. And this is what's responsible for governing our biological clocks, known as our circadian rhythm. Basically, when light enters the photoreceptors in our eyes, it tells the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is basically, think of it as the master controller in our brains, whether it's daytime or nighttime. And then the other 95% of mitochondria found in the body is actually in our cells. This subcellular melatonin is created in response to near infrared light. So let's take a step back here. So we've got increased rates of, you name it, any chronic condition basically. Yet sun exposure is at the lowest it's ever been. And people's pineal glands, of course, we know from the fluoride, have been calcified. Not only that, the light exposure from, our daytime is basically nighttime nowadays. Most people are bombarded by junk light, and it's, being exposed through the skin. Our skin has photoreceptive cells as well. Basically, all of our bodily organs absorb light. And it's been taken out of nature's golden divine ratio because we need not only blue light, so blue light's not inherently toxic, but we need blue light with red light, with purple light, with green light, all of it. Okay, this graph here shows the different light sources, and it shows the color spectrum. So most people's homes are filled with LED bulbs, fluorescent lamps, suppresses melatonin production by over 80%, and then incandescent bulbs, going back to the Trump thing, are actually mostly red light. So there's only a 40% melatonin suppression, meaning that it's much more in line with nature, and it's actually much healthier for us. And so at nighttime, it's actually best to have either red lights or candles even to avoid that melatonin suppression, not only for our pineal gland, but you have to be thinking about your cells too, your skin. Your skin health is also dictated by the light that you're exposed to, which I'll show here in just a second. But you can dramatically improve your energy levels also too by wearing longer sleeves if you know you're going to be under blue fluorescent lights, like at work. And speaking of the light bulbs here, this study looked at the effects of light bulbs and UV light in indoor office workers, and actually found an increase in carcinoma from people who were exposed to, it calls it here dirty light, the blue light, than people who weren't. So people who work in offices and then go expose themselves to sunlight are going to have a tougher time adapting to it. Like you mentioned earlier, Michael, I'm so glad you use that, because many people are familiar with working out and how you have to, expose yourself to daily stress from exercise to be able to reap the benefits, for a longer lifespan, increase muscle mass, to look better, to feel better. Sunlight actually works very similarly. So sunlight actually activates something known as POMC, which is basically a hormone that gets cleaved into smaller hormones like alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone, which controls our appetite or libido. It's also what's responsible for giving you that tan. And so most people, just think of vitamin D, but the sun is much more than just that. And, it's.
Yeah, that was
all
fascinating. The incandescent light and like a candle flame's almost identical in the spectrum of light. So that's really, really interesting.
Exactly. And it goes back to, it points to Trump probably knew that all along, which is why he undid that, which I'm very thankful for. Granted, I don't know how much of a effect that had on most people, but still, we could be living in a world where those are illegal, but they're not. So
they tried
to,
when I was in California for a while, I tried to get incandescent bulbs, and you couldn't get them through Amazon.
Yeah.
They blocked it. Yeah.
No, totally. Makes sense. It's right in lockstep with everything we're talking about. The blue light also goes in lockstep with MK Ultra, because our phones, social media, all these social media networks basically have our brains dopamine addicted on a drip, which is emitting blue light. So it's not only damaging our cells, but our melatonin levels, and it's addicting us even more. So, it's contributing to a lot of the mental disorders too that we see here. Depression is skyrocketed. It's the highest it's ever been. When sunlight, believe it or not, actually increases beta endorphins, which many people know endorphins are created from exercise, but they're also created from sunlight, which is inherently very cool, because nature is basically showing us that it's good for us to be exposed to. It makes us feel good.
Nice. Yeah. I definitely feel good after I've been in the sun. So I like it.
And most people inherently do. It's just they don't, a lot of times people use sunblock, which is actually blunting a lot of the effects, if not completely stopping those beneficial effects from even taking place.
Yep. Yeah, I stopped using sunscreen a long time ago. Yep.
Me too, which is, many people would, bat their eye at. It's, crazy to most people, but when you start to understand that, it's not something like, where most people just don't exercise, using sunblock is actually harmful to you. So using nothing and not getting any sunlight would be better for you than using sunblock and getting sunlight. You really need to just stop with the slip, slop, slap altogether. But we'll get there. So, anyways, we already know this, but half of Americans are vitamin D deficient. Our immune systems are being hampered more than ever. And, as a result, chronic disease is higher than it's ever been. Meanwhile, sunlight, the very thing that they demonize, is actually protective. And here's how. So I want to pull this photo up here. Pretty cool. I actually just searched 1970s beach, and, I can't see a single obese person to be found.
Yep.
So you contrast that, obviously we live down here in Florida, and I don't know if you've been to the beach recently, but quite different.
It's different now. Yeah. The big agra, they left the cigarette industry and went over to big agra and made the bad foods addicting to us instead of the cigarettes. So.
Yep. It's true. Yeah, they're just revolving door, of just cancer pushers, really. Yep. Let's call it what it is. Which, speaking of, so sunlight has actually been said to inactivate or deactivate the P53 protein. Now, P53 is the protector of the genome, so it's actually activated by sunlight. Okay, so oxidative stress. Yes, I said it. Sunlight does cause stress, but just like how exercise causes acute stress, acutely stress is fine because it actually makes our cells more resilient. It's called a hormetic stressor. And so sunlight causes stress, which then in turn turns on P53 and tells our cells to actually basically kill off these mutated cells. So it's inherently, in and of itself, is a tumor suppressive protein activated by sunlight. So pretty insane. And then here, I love this meme from Jack Schroeder. You can see here DNA is being covered by melanin, which, from a scientific perspective is almost exactly accurate. These little melanosomes, these little brown circles here, protect the nucleus from UV light. And actually, it fosters more melanin production and the benefits of melanin, which we haven't even gotten to yet. So melanin has been shown to actually reduce ultraviolet damage formation and kills carcinoma cells in humans. They've basically shown in human cells, and then I like this one too. Sun exposure and mortality from melanoma. So it actually points to, getting a sunburn. Not, of course, it's not the goal, but just high intermittent sun exposure is actually associated with an inverse of death from melanoma, which again points to the sun not being the root cause of, said cancers and whatnot. So vitamin D also too arrests cancer cells. The literature, we go on and on. Blue light, okay, free protocol people can use to help protect themselves, especially after the sun goes down. You can use night mode, basically turns your screen red. Okay, so it helps your eyes not being exposed to so much blue light. And then you can also use candles and incandescent light bulbs and red light like we've talked about. But then you can also use supplements like Shilajit and collagen, which are not only great for the pineal gland to help produce more melatonin, but it also detoxifies and enhances melatonin production. So you produce more melatonin overall. And not only just in the pineal gland, but also like we talked about in our cells, our mitochondria.
That's fantastic. So yeah, we want that pineal gland detoxified, and we want it clean, so we can get that intuition coming through.
Exactly, which we know, of course, the fluoride, but even more than that, the chemtrails, all of it, attacks our pineal gland and interrupts our cells or our natural our biology. Our days become night and our nights become days. People are exposed to so much light at wrong times. It's really important to be detoxing and just overall increasing your pineal gland melatonin production. So, something definitely to think about, as well as blackout curtains and red glasses are a must for me personally. I keep my bedroom blacked out. It looks kind of nuts, but I fall asleep much easier. So if people have a tough time falling asleep, definitely try out these tips. But I do want to emphasize supplementing vitamin D should not replace sunlight, because vitamin D itself actually needs to get activated from sunlight. And many of the benefits of vitamin D are actually just from melanin. So melanin is key for all these processes that we've talked about, and is actually a heavy metal detoxifier in and of itself. Not only that, but sunlight controls almost every aspect of us, of our bodies, thanks to, again, that suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is basically the master controller part of our brain. It's responsible for things like our sleep-wake cycles, so helping to fall asleep via melatonin production, our mood by enhancing endorphins, and also, too, something that's really fascinating is, so the amino acids, tyrosine and also what's the other one? It'll come to me, but these amino acids that we get from food are actually they absorb light. So they have benzoin rings that are actually interactive with light. So essentially getting morning light, sunlight in the morning, actually pushes these amino acids to get created into dopamine quicker and serotonin, so that you feel better and that you're ready to start your day. So, for what it's worth, I think that's a great morning routine for people to try to experience the benefits of sunlight. And of course, work your way up. Don't just go, right into it, balls to the walls. You definitely need to work that solar callus and, expose yourself gradually over time, preferably without any sort of sunblock, any sort of sun protection, because it's going to downregulate your body's antioxidant systems that are meant to actually, use that stress to its advantage. So sunlight also boosts. It's a free source of energy, and the whole point of quantum biology is that we are not only getting energy from the foods that we eat, but we're also getting energy from the Earth's subtle negative field known as the Schumann resonance. So when you take your shoes off and you actually are barefoot on the Earth, there's an electrical exchange of energy there. And so that's a free energy source, as well as sunlight. So sunlight actually has been shown to increase ATP production, but actually slows the spin of our cells' mitochondria. So it basically is able to, almost in a way, hijack our cells to give it the energy without needing to use food. Pretty amazing. So melanin heavy metal detox, like I mentioned, melanin removes up to over 90% of heavy metals. So when they put it into aqueous solutions, it actually takes out almost 90% of the heavy metals. And again, our cells need the whole light spectrum to thrive. We can see here, just from UVB, which is the most demonized form of light, melanin is created, which produces vitamin D, endorphins, alpha melanocyte stimulating hormone. It also activates our neurotransmitters, like I talked about, which again, too, the MK Ultra, the devices are basically replacing sunlight, which again goes right in with their whole narrative of their weird fascination with blocking out the sun. Our bodies start to become conditioned from the blue light on our phones, and it gets its dopamine that way versus the sun. So definitely be aware of that, and try to limit your screen time. As well as, too, you can see here, melatonin is created in the red spectrum. And like I just mentioned, our cells actually use light to create energy. So there's 4 steps in our electron transport chain, basically our cells' process of creating energy. And each step along the way absorbs different colors. So ultraviolet light, blue light, yellow, green, red light, all is used to literally create energy. And then here, red light as an energy source, like I just mentioned, helps to increase melatonin in our cells. And using red light therapy actually helps to alter the environment for carcinoma, melanoma. Really good for skin health as well. Helps to upregulate collagen production, which, speaking of, definitely going to want to supplement collagen in combination with your sun exposure, because we know that collagen levels decline as we age. And so it becomes very important to get it from our diet, because sunlight does, like I said, induce a stress response. But if you're getting ample amounts of collagen from, supplementing diet, you're not going to have to worry as much about, any sort of wrinkles or anything like that. But also too, the getting the timing, the light that you're getting with the sunrise and sunset, which are higher in red light, or just getting a red light panel is also really beneficial. And then this brings us to Shilajit. So not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I do want people to know that fulvic acid, which is the main chemical constituent found in Shilajit, has many of the similar properties as melanin. So it's also been shown to decrease inflammation, and it's got this very dark pigment, very similar to melanin. Obviously, creates that tan. I'm not saying that Shilajit can help you tan, but what I will say is that this can help to reduce the effects of sun burn or sun damage because of its ability to improve skin health, which I'll show here in a minute, and also to reduce inflammation. For people who don't know, Shilajit is a potent mineral resin. It's been used for centuries in traditional Ayurvedic medicine as a panacea or cure-all. It's known as, the word Shilajit actually is translated from Sanskrit, and it's the conqueror of mountains and destroyer of weakness. Michael, of course, we know it's been used by monks. It's an ancient healing modality. Pretty incredible.
So that would lead to, the monks seem to have like this supernatural, intuitive, connection to source and all that kind of stuff. So that's from the Shilajit, because it's helping to do the melanin and all that kind of stuff. So very, very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, they understood what a lot of people are now just starting to understand, which is that our cells, mitochondria, ultimately dictate our consciousness. So if you're able to improve your mitochondrial status and the health of your cells, then your consciousness overall is going to benefit greatly. So intuition, even your quality of, perception, your metabolism also too, people don't know, which, Shilajit has been shown to help increase our metabolism in a healthy way. And these basically thyroid hormones also attribute to our consciousness, our awareness of our bodies. So you're going to be much more intuitive overall, from the metabolic boosting effects, the melanin, relationship there. And also too, it's also a natural source of carbon-60, which, Mike, carbon-60 won a Nobel Peace Prize. Like, it's one of the strongest antioxidants. It's 172 times stronger than vitamin C. It's even stronger than melatonin, and most people would be amazed that it's also been found, carbon-60 is only naturally found in Shilajit meteorites and ancient ammonite crustaceans. So scientists believe that this points at actually a more holistic antioxidant solar system, or a solar system based antioxidant system.
Fascinating. That's really good.
Yeah. And it looks like a soccer ball. So it's a dodecahedron, which basically is like a molecular soccer ball that our mitochondria love. So, again, you're going to see energy benefits, cognitive benefits. It helps to improve your mood, cognition, focus, these things. Also, too, it's great for athletes like yourself, Mike, but also even too, just people who, want to be healthy because of its ability, again, to help to remove a lot of the toxins. It's actually been shown in a recent study that hasn't even come out yet that I have access to actually help to reduce vascular damage in our brain from the toxin burden that we're all exposed to. So I've got pulled up here, which let me see if it'll share here.
Got it. Yep.
Okay, cool. It switched. Okay. Once this pulls up. Yeah. Okay, great. So if I scroll down here, that's the wrong one. Shoot.
That sounds pretty exotic. Heliotherapy.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of research before this, but we can see here people exposing their full body, as well as in the snow. So this is something fascinating. Most people have no idea, but cold exposure actually makes you more tan.
Wow.
Yeah, and it does so by changing the shape of our cells' mitochondria again to be more to have more surface area to absorb more light. So especially for our friends up north, it's especially important. It's crucial really to be getting cold exposure during the winter months, which makes sense because it's cold out. So, but even just for people like, it's so natural, but if you think about it, like going to the beach, well, it's what do people go in the water for? Because it's hot out. But on a cellular level, that's also reinforcing and building more of a melanin base so that we can sit out in the sun longer and also look tanner and obviously feel better. So pretty amazing.
Very good. Wow.
Okay, so just kind of wrapping things up here. Shilajit is the best binder I've ever come across. I found for me personally, I feel a lot better. I also sweat much better too. I find that it helps my lymphatic system drain much easier, and I have much less, I feel much better, much less toxins, and it really helps just overall. Microplastics, pesticides, graphene, spike proteins, all these things. Okay. This study, like I mentioned, it's not even out yet, but we can see here different lifestyle factors all attribute to vascular damage, which then gets decreased from taking Shilajit. So again, don't expect, this isn't a miracle drug, supplement, whatever. But it does have some really fascinating science. And like I said, it is the best natural detoxifier. That's thanks to the fulvic acid, which scientists have shown. They believe that it's what gives Shilajit its healing powers. Okay, so, and then also too, we can see here in a study looking at middle-aged women, it improves vascularity to the skin. So we can see here week or visit 1 and then visit 6, skin quality naturally goes through the roof. It's deemed as one of the best natural skincare supplements people can take. I also recommend taking it in combination with our collagen because it actually boosts our endogenous production of collagen and also helps to create better elasticity. It's really great for also muscle recovery as well. Collagen is like the glue that holds our bodies together. It makes up a third of our bodies, and so recovery benefits, but it's also crucial for melatonin production again. So all these things synergize with each other, and we haven't even hit on the creatine, but that one helps to basically recycle and regenerate our cells, our mitochondria to produce more ATP. And yeah, we could go real deep there, but I really love this picture too. It shows the actual thermal effects of taking Shilajit here, and we can see that there's basically more vascularity after week or visit 6. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely.
I love the science.
Yeah, it's great stuff. I love, researching and, helping people to understand that, a lot of the things that we believe are just because we've been taught, but, here I am, just kind of proving to the contrary, I guess,
Definitely. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
the intuitive bundle, I think that's my fave.
Definitely. Well, you definitely were an inspiration for that, Mike. And a lot of people have been telling us how much they love it. Yeah, there you go. We've got, I want to say, over 60 reviews now. And they just keep pouring in. People love taking it all 3 together. They notice a difference. Personally, I have been taking these for years, and I stand by them. It's why I created this company. Our purity is on a different level. We do lab testing on all of our products. So a lot of people, who maybe have tried Shilajit from other brands will notice a major difference from ours. And I've had people tell me that personally. Again, it's not meant to be like a miracle drug or anything like that, but it has been regarded in ancient societies, civilizations as a panacea, taken for just about any ailment. So some benefits too, people will notice from our Shilajit. It helps to boost your hormones, and it boosts testosterone in men and estrogen in women, which, you know, that's great. So there's benefits not only for men but also for women. It's great for both, and yeah, it's awesome. So
Beautiful. Yeah. And Jaco for 10% off, and Live Optimum. What is that? .com.
.co actually, so it's .co. LiveOptimum.co. Yeah, should be a link in the description, and
Yep.
yeah, 100%. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Always a pleasure having great information.
Thank you.
The stuff about the sunlight and everything is excellent. Incandescent bulbs. So get off those LEDs and you know, try and use candles
Yes.
and incandescent
Please.
bulbs.
Definitely. No, I mean, you know, I've noticed it more and more. You know, people my age are just stuck. They're glued to the blue light, and
Yeah.
you know, the less you're around it, actually, the more sensitive you become to it. Which, you know, once you start to align yourself with nature, just starts to become apparent. So definitely, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. You're awesome. Appreciate that. And I think that this is really the cutting edge. I think more and more studies, and, you know, more people are going to be starting to speak on quantum biology and light, all of it, which there's a lot more we could get into, of course. But yeah, thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you again.
All right. Thank you, Noah.
Absolutely.
And thanks everybody to join us, and I hope you guys got a lot out of it, and definitely get some of that, get that intuitive bundle. It's great.
Definitely.
All right. Lots of love. We'll see you guys next time.